Today on Grand Thumb, probably one of the most famous and iconic grenade launchers ever made. The M79, the Thumper, or as the Australians called it, the Wombat, the combat Wombat. Is it a grenade launcher or is it slang for a very feisty woman? We're not really sure, to be honest.
The Australians are so stupid. That's such a stupid name.
In any case, today we're going to be showcasing this. We're going to be shooting it. We're going to be testing it. I've heard a lot of talk of the M79 being a superbly accurate grenade launcher, even compared to the M203, and even favorable over the current grenade launcher used by the military, the M320.
Can we stop calling it the M79? It's really called the Thumper, and everybody knows that.
Oh, so you want to start using its pronouns. Yeah.
Today, Grand Thumb, the M79 Thumper. But before we get into that, we of course have to thank the biggest sponsor of the channel, who is whom, Charles?
It's Primary Arms. For every $20 spent, they're going to be donating $1 to some poor little fighting-age male in a third world.
That's not what they're going to do, but big thank you to Primary Arms, and of course, who can we not forget? Charles!
Mantis.
No, Night Vision Network.
Oh, fuck, well, you didn't pay. Night Vision Network, it's the only N-words you can say.
If you're looking to buy night vision or you're looking to rent night vision, you know, you have like a weekend excursion, we're gonna go Night Vision Network, go check them out. And if you want to get better at shooting, we recommend dry fire. Mantis turns your weapon into a dry fire machine. We love them and we highly recommend them. My employees have stolen all of my Mantis products. I actually don't get to dry fire anymore, so I'm gonna be bad at shooting. And of course, AAC for ammunition. They don't make 40mm, but they make pretty much everything else you could possibly want. But talk is cheap, and 40mm is what, Charles?
They're pretty excited. I went to go pick them up. They're expensive as shit.
There you have it. So the first question you might have is, what is the M79? The M79 is a break action grenade launcher. It is firing a 40mm, 40 by 46 to be precise, and it is a high-low system, otherwise known as a low-pressure system. Now, why the grenade launcher was made was you can only throw a grenade so far. Charles, how far can you throw a grenade?
It's fucking over the moon, dude.
Typically, you can't throw a grenade that far. About 25 feet, 25 yards, depending on how good of a...
Why does he expect you to know that?
Well, and also, you can only throw 25 feet, dog?
No, I can throw more than 20. I'm talking like Jeremy, for example, could throw 20.
Yeah, why we
hey, come on.
About 25 feet. So what the M79 does is it extends the range of your typical squad, your typical platoon, and allows you to employ an explosive or some other type of round to deliver it between hand grenade range and mortar range, and that is extremely effective. Now, for YouTube's sake, of course, we do not have high explosive, and in fact, we do have our FEL on site and everything. But today we're going to be showing a variety of different munitions, showing how effective it is, but there's a lot of questions. I like how it kind of echoes. There's a lot of questions that I have about the M79 and, you know, how well it works.
It's like you're talking to my sister right now.
Slut! Are you able to look down the barrel?
Yeah, I can look. It's huge. What do you mean am I able to look?
Now, if you look down the barrel of the M79, you can see that it is rifled. 40mm is a rifled grenade launcher and imparts spin to the grenade, allows it to be quite accurate. In fact, I've heard a lot of talk about how accurate the M79 is. The M203, I wouldn't say that accurate. So the question is, how accurate is it? Well, we'll find out. So there are two sighting methods on the M79. We have this little leaf sight right here, which is a battle 0 to 100 yards, which we'll check out. And then we have a graduated sight for longer engagement distances out to 400. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna test out that leaf sight. We got a target at about 100 right there. And we'll see if I can just nail that guy. And we'll also kind of listen to the noise, because what is it called? Thump, thump. Okay.
Oh! Did you just nail it?
I did.
No, you didn't.
Hold on. You ready for this?
No.
What a Chad, dude.
Dude, you think you can do that, Micah?
No, that was lucky.
That was not luck, dude.
That
I'm
was
good.
aim. Did you have to hold high at all?
I was holding that right here.
Okay, so Micah, maybe just above, dude. I think you got it.
All right, I want to try.
Yeah, I want to try it too.
Yeah, this is a really easy gun to fire. And in the Vietnam War, this smoked hella dudes. And you can see why. It's simple to employ, and it's extremely simple and reliable. Like,
why is the stock upside down, though?
Okay.
It's a repro.
So that's as far... Oh, okay. The stock is angled the way it is because when you think about it, you're not getting down in line with the barrel. You're actually angled and firing it typically at some type of an arc. Because of that, the stock has to be shaped differently to give yourself a cheek rest depending on the angle that you're aiming at.
That's not what they look like originally.
That's literally what they look like. Okay, so one thing we have to talk about is the effective kill radius of your typical...
Chalk?
Yes, of chalk. So about, kill radius about 15 15 yards. Here you are, buddy. I think you can figure it out.
Yeah.
So easy, a child could do it.
What's the arming distance on these usually?
Just high.
Just over.
When you
Just
say
over.
heavy, you're talking 15 pounds.
It's a heavy trigger.
Like we gotta measure that because I thought it was on safety because I was pulling
you
so
kind of
hard.
don't want a grenade launcher to go off accidentally, though. Forward, like a shotgun.
I think it was right over the left shoulder, just like an inch.
Now, there are a lot of different ways to carry 40 millimeter. We have a 40 millimeter belt on from Tactical Tailor. This is pretty typically used. You can get them for a pretty good price because they've been used by so many different militaries that they're easy to get surplus. But there's a lot of different 40 millimeter rounds. That's what makes it so versatile. Right here, we're gonna be using a 50 meter flashbang. So what's great is this is a great simulator of an explosive airburst round. And downrange, we have the guys because, you know, so they can experience it. You guys ready?
As usual, we are on the receiving end. Word up.
Yep.
Yeah. It's gonna be loud, actually. That was sick!
Yo, send one more.
We don't have insurance, so what are they gonna say?
That was pretty awesome. At first, I thought you just threw it straight into the wall because it was a little concussive.
You know what's really cool about that is you have a little bit of time to realize it's coming because you can hear it so well. Bite. That's exactly
Can
how
you
it
do that
sounded.
sound one more time?
Bite.
We're gonna now test the practical accuracy of the M79 from its closest all the way up to its furthest distance. We're gonna go 100, 200, 300, and finally 400 yards. So we'll see who's best, and I'll go first. Got a target at 100 right there. You ready, Micah?
Almost. Yeah.
Oh!
No way.
Woo! Dang!
Always just
That's
clipping
pretty
it, but he's
satisfying.
getting it.
That's 2 for
sick.
2 for you.
You said it was luck.
Hey, Dark Star, this speak on actual. I'm about to
God damn it, dude.
right.
That 37-pound trigger, dude. Oh, that was a big miss. This gun's messed up.
Holy shit! What the fuck?
Are you retarded?
I pointed right at it.
Because you're not using the sights
Oh, I
correctly.
didn't use the rear side at all.
What you did? All right, redemption. Just left, like an inch left.
On the tangent sight right here, what you need to do is it's actually locked because of all the recoil. So you have to hit this little thumb release right here, and then you can rotate the tangent sight up. At that point, you can set your range. You can see the 200 right there. So we're gonna go ahead and we're going to loosen it up. Set that at 200, and then you can actually tighten that back down, or you can leave it loose. So we have it set at 200, and we're gonna go ahead and see how on this is. I'll go first. So this is an aerial weapon, but if I hit it again, like, that'll be awesome.
Why is it in the grass?
Where is it? Oh yeah, it's all the way in the grass.
Yeah, you see it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, the wind took it for sure.
Oh, I was way fucking off. I was way high. The chalk should be range for an M433, but I think these are a little bit lighter. I think I'm actually gonna go back to the 100 and just aim over.
Yeah, just.
You ready, Micah?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so I'll set it for 150.
Over.
Yep.
That's. Oh. Dude,
Oh, that was actually within kill range.
Yeah.
you would've
That's
held
pretty
right.
good.
Yeah. Okay, so the
You
wind's
meant the rock.
the wind's taking it to the left as an FYI. So I would definitely aim like
Rock.
that distance to the right. Right out there at that hay barn, we have it at 300. These rounds are a little bit lighter, so we have it set at 275. That seems to be our sweet spot for the 4, 5, 50 marking round. All right, you ready? Got me.
Thunder.
Woo!
Damn.
I didn't see that one. All right, Thumper, give me 2 shots. Everyone gets 2 shots. Let's go. Dude. Oh, yeah, it's way left. I was holding just to the right of the target.
Okay.
The wind's taking it a little bit though. Definitely give it a little bit more wind. Hey, with a modern HEDP, that is a kill.
Yeah, this is awkward though.
Way left, you're gonna.
Not too left. No.
Oh my
Wow,
God.
that was really good. That was really
Ooh,
good.
Definitely did. I was trying to talk shit, dude.
Dude, I'm like, as every girlfriend always said, I don't get there, but I get close, dude. Same thing.
The wind kind of died.
No, it's there. It's there. It's in line. Just over. It was.
Yeah, just behind it.
Yep.
It's right. You hit the barn. Yeah.
Damn.
Hey, that's a kill, dude. That's a kill.
Level with target, right at the top of the triangle.
Correct.
Okay.
Although wind does.
This is so weird. I wanted to go like this, but you kind of just go like
Yeah,
this.
you just kind of, yeah.
Oh, that's close.
Oh, snap.
It's between pulling it.
No! Right at the base.
That was
it
right
at the base.
at the base.
Let's
It
go,
hit the
dude.
base.
He was.
I don't know where that one went.
Okay, so we have the target that was right here. You can see where the chalk round impacted.
That was mine, right?
Yours was at the feet. This was Charles's. It was just to the right. But the rounds all impacted within a kill radius. So after talking and checking out all the impacts, they're all within that 15-meter kill radius of like a typical high explosive. So that's actually super cool because we thought we were really off some of them, but they're well within kill range at 300. It's a very effective weapon. All right, so Dead Air wanted us to let you guys know that there is a new can released in the market. We have the Lazarus right here, 6mm bore. It is 3D printed material and it is low back pressure. So this is obviously on a 5.56 gun right now, but this is a 6mm can. Will work on 6mm arc, which we just did a video on. Next up, we have the Nomax in 338. So we have 8.6 right here. That was more than 6. Where are your ears?
It's silenced.
Dude, hearing damage is cumulative. All right, guys, a big thank you to Dead Air for sponsoring this particular video. They want us to let you know that Lazarus is releasing soon at 6mm can that we showed you. This one is already out right now. Go and check them out. A big thank you to them for keeping this content free. Let's get back to the M79. Okay, we've actually done a psychotic amount of shooting. We did it because we had a really good time doing it. So to be clear, we did have trouble shooting at 400. Typically with an explosive round, you're going to be able to walk that impact right in. In our case, with the kind of lighter practice chalk rounds we were using, we were not able to see impacts and kind of walk ourselves in. So that was a bit of a wash. Certainly it does have a 400-meter range. In practice, you need a little explosive to kind of walk yourself in to see your impacts. But right here, we have the M79, probably one of my favorite grenade launchers. To be clear, I do love every grenade launcher that I have, but I think that the M79 is perhaps one of the best. The reason being the simplicity, the reliability, the accuracy, and actually, funny enough, it is actually fairly accessible to civilians. These are not hard to buy. This one I just own. I formed it myself. It is a destructive device. They're not hard to get. I think for an M79, you're looking between 5 to 6, somewhere right around that range. They are more expensive than an M203, but I find them. Yeah. Oh yeah. Destructive devices, unfortunately, are expensive. That being said, of any of the grenade launchers that we fired, I think that the M79 is perhaps one of the most capable. For that reason, I think it's a really good buy. There's also a lot of modifications you can do to the M79 to make it very interesting, so we'll talk about those. But let's go ahead, let's talk a little bit about the history of the M79, because I think it's very interesting. Because like the M14, it didn't serve for that long of a time, and it was replaced fairly quickly. But unlike the M14, it served and continues to serve in a capacity within special operations due to how good it is. This is one of the weapons that was designed by the government itself. It came through from its own program. We're not going to get too much in the specifics other than to say they recognized that hand grenades can only be thrown so far, and at that point you either went to a rifle grenade, which is kind of a pain in the ass to load, or you're going to mortars. So there needed to be something in between, and they kind of came up with the concept from a golf ball launcher. And they're like, hey, this works pretty good. What if we took the golf ball, we just packed it full of explosive and rifled the barrel? And you know what? You pretty much got the M79. There were a couple different contenders, but the M79 ended up picking up the contract simply because it is simple and it just always works. If you take your granddaddy's break action shotgun from 1850, it probably still works, and that's the same concept behind the M79. It is basically a ginormous break action shotgun. Now, the 40 millimeter, the round that we have right here, so this is one of our expended cartridges, is very interesting. So the first thing I want to talk about is a little bit of the problem they had with the 40 millimeter and how they solved it. So the 40 millimeter uses what's called a high-low concept. To be clear, the high-low was not pioneered by the Americans. In fact, it was pioneered by, who do you think, Micah? Who do you think came up with it?
The high-low? The British?
No.
Wait, I don't know.
Who comes up with all the good weaponry?
Germans?
Always the Germans, man. Here's the problem. So if we take a large case like this, and to be clear, when you're firing a projectile of a 40 millimeter, it's traveling about 270 meters per second. How fast is that? The better question is how slow is that? That is very, very slow.
You can catch it.
Yeah, try it out. So the problem is the amount of powder needed to make that travel that fast is not a lot. You could obviously make a 40 millimeter fly further. That's where we had the high pressure 40 millimeters, such as what you use in the Mark 19. But you want to be able to shoulder fire this guy. You don't want too much recoil. You want this easy to use. So the problem is if you have that small amount of powder in this large of a space, you have inconsistent powder burn. And then you're going to have a lot of varying velocities, and it's going to be hard to put the round where you need it. So what they came up with is something that's very simple. It's a high pressure to a low pressure. So they have a small casing. In this case, for many of these rounds, you have a 38 blank. The primer is impacted. The 38, of course, expends all its gunpowder within that casing. Then there's a small seal that it breaks, and that expanded gunpowder, as it burns, then opens up into this entire cartridge right here. So it goes from very high pressure to very low pressure, which then pushes the round. So we'll have one right here, which then pushes that round down the 40 millimeter barrel, and it exits at a very low velocity. Thus, you have the high-low system that is very, very consistent and very, very accurate in the case of the M79. So it's actually a very interesting system. And the best part about it is, just like the M79, it's simple, it's reliable, and it's repeatable. Now, moving over to the M79 right here. The M79 is kind of three main parts. You have the stock, you have the action itself, which is this guy right here, and then you have the barrel. It's a very easy system to break down to clean because there's so few moving parts. So the first thing we'll talk about is the barrel itself. Now, so right here we have the M203, which is a 12-inch barrel. The M79 is a 14.5-inch barrel. And the M79 is significantly more effective than the M203 and more accurate. I think the action is just, it lends itself to that accuracy. Now, the sights on the M79 are, as you can see right here, a hooded front sight, very similar to what you see on the M14. Keep parts costs down. And then we have our tangent sight. We're going to take a moment right now to talk about the rear sight. There's a little bit to it, and it's interesting. It's very precise, so long as you know what you're doing. So to start off with, when this sight is folded down, our battle sight right here is a simple 100-yard zero. That means wherever you aim that at, your round's going to mostly impact right there. So here is our rear sight right here. Here's our front sight. You simply put that where you need it to be. Simple notch, and your round's going to impact. We found that to be very accurate, Micah. That was pretty good. That was pretty on point.
Yeah.
Now, going beyond 100, you can, of course, eyeball it using the 100-meter battle zero, and in fact, many soldiers did. Or if you want to be more precise, then you can fold up the tangent sight. So on that, we have a small release right here. That way it doesn't flop around too much. So you press that down. That allows you to rotate it up. Then it locks in that position. It still flops around a little bit. But again, a grenade launcher is not a precision weapon, but you do need to get it within that kill radius. So I'm going to fold that down just so we're able to get that footage of it. So as you can see, we have our 50-meter half notch, we have the 100, we go up to 200. As you notice, it's not all equidistant. What I mean by that is from 100 to 200 is shorter than 200 to 300. This is, of course, because as the 40 millimeter travels through the air, hits air resistance, it slows down, and it begins to, you need more arc in order to get it to go where it is headed. Shooting the 40 millimeter is much like lobbing a baseball, is what a lot of people call it, because you do get that big arc on it. And it's a little bit of an art, but if you know what you're doing, I've seen plenty of people be able to put these through windows. It's a very, very effective weapon. It's very quick to employ. We go all the way up to 375, though the noted range for this is all the way up to 400. Now, to adjust this, you're simply going to push this in, adjust that lip right there to where you need it to, and if you keep this thumb screw out, you can adjust it quickly, or if you need to keep it at that location, then you can screw this in, and that way it's not going to be able to move. So there are several different ways there. In addition, if we loosen this back up, there for more incremental movements, you can use this very small fine adjustment to get yourself precisely where you need to be. But for the most part, I'm kind of setting it at whatever ranges I'm kind of going into. So that is the rear sight right there. Very effective, and probably one of the best parts of the M79. If you compare this to the M203 with its ladder sight, the ladder sight is good, but the ladder sight doesn't feel nearly as precise as the M79 sighting ladder, and I find that the rear sight on the M79 to be just better. That might be due to the fact that the M79 is a more accurate weapon platform overall. In any case, I found that the M203 is not nearly as effective as the M79, and also it's nice to not have the weight at your weapon. Which brings us to a historical point. Very interestingly, the M203 did end up replacing the M79 within the service. However, you'll still see the M79 employed fairly heavily with several units if M203s aren't available, or most notably within special operations. Now, the reason it's used within special operations is for all the aforementioned reasons I've talked about: reliability, simplicity, accuracy. And in addition, what's very cool about the M79 is it's very easy to cut these down. So a lot of people end up sawing off the stocks right back here. So you just have a little pistol grip, and they'll also end up sawing off the barrel. So you have a very short little pirate gun. And they're still incredibly effective, but it's a very small little compact package that can still toss a 40 millimeter very accurately about 100 to 150 meters. So, you know, despite it being cut down, it's probably more of a vibe cut down than it is when it's in the full size. Now, moving back from our sighting apparatus, let's talk a little bit about the release right here. So as you can see, this thumb release is very similar to many of the shotguns that you know and love. So there's a little bit of knurling on the left-hand side right there, as well as the right-hand side. But to release it, you're going to push it from left to right. That's going to allow the barrel to open up. At that point, you can simply pop your round in until it hits that little extractor plunger right there. And then you're able to close that. Then the weapon is loaded. Very interesting about the M79 in particular is when you press this thumb safety to load the weapon, because assuming you have just fired it, it actually depresses the safety from fire to safe. So as you can see right here, as I depress that, that pushes it right into safe. I find that to be very effective and probably a good thing. If there's any weapon you want safe as you're loading it, it's more than likely a grenade launcher. You don't want that thing going anywhere near you. Now, if you're not familiar with how grenades work, it's actually quite interesting, especially when we talk about high explosive grenades. Everything is a little bit different. Now, as far as a grenade is concerned, the last thing that you want with a grenade is for it to go off within the barrel. Because of that, the explosive rounds will have a safety mechanism within the grenade itself. Now, these are called inertial arming devices, and very simply is as the round exits out the barrel, it is rotating. This rotation will align the firing pin, align it with the primer, make sure that it can detonate, but not until it has achieved a specific number of rotations, which equals a range. Typically for the M433, which is the HEDP that is currently used by the United States military, it's between 45 to 90 feet. So the reason being is that's not going to go off within a kill radius. Now, the kill radius of the M433 is around 45 feet. So just at the minimal arming distance, you're going to be okay. Incapacitation range is much further, but we're definitely mostly concerned with that kill radius. But the fragmentation off the M4033 is extremely effective. Extremely. Even outside of that kill range, there's still a possibility of death, but more than likely it's going to at least put people out of the fight or damage them. It should be noted, however, that the arming distance, the kill radius, is going to be very grenade dependent. This is very much so a weapon that can be adapted to many different roles, because beyond any type of lethals, there are tons of less lethals, such as this foam baton round right here. So it can fill a variety of roles, and in fact in Vietnam, when due to the arming distance on those explosive rounds, not the M433, but a lot of those early ones, they actually developed a buckshot round. Now, it was much lower pressure and was not nearly as fast as like a typical 12-gauge buckshot, but was still effective-ish in those dense jungles. But this can be adapted to many different uses, which is perhaps what makes it so effective. I know, talking to many different JTACs in the military who called in airstrikes, that they used M79s to fire smoke marking rounds for airstrikes, to mark LZs, to mark enemy locations. So there's certainly a lot of applications within a war zone that this can be applied to. As far as the trigger is concerned, we've talked about it before, but the biggest kind of learning curve on the M79 is the fact that that safety always engages every time you load it. So every time you bring that up to your shoulder, you just want to consciously push that forward. And I know I talked about it at the very beginning, about not wrapping your thumb around the back. I know we've been doing it because old habits die hard, for sure. I've mostly been firing the M203 and the M320 in my career. So same side. The reason for that is the recoil from, full power HE round as you fire it. You can get your thumb pushed into the safety and it can kind of hurt you a little bit, and you don't want that. When it comes to our trigger right here, it is a very heavy trigger pull. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna pull that trigger together right now. So it is about a 12-pound pull. So there's little to no play into the wall, and off that wall, that is a significant. That's got to be at least 12 pounds right there, I think, from our alignment pull gauge when I measured this beforehand. But it's a lot. It's drop safe, we'll say that much, right, Micah?
I better be.
Now, it should be noted that this is a winter trigger. I can press in this plunger right here, then I can rotate that trigger guard out of the way. That's if you have very thick gloves, you're in the Arctic fighting the Russians, whatever you might be doing, you can still get that gloved finger in there, or if you just have massive fingers. Then depress that, rotate that back into place, clicks into place, that way it can't rotate anymore. Moving back from there, the stock design is very odd, and it's going to seem very odd until you begin to use the rear sight as you are firing at longer distances, where it makes it easier to line that up. It's just, you have to realize it's not a conventional rifle, and because of that, you're not going to have a conventional stock. As weird as it looks, it's quite comfortable to fire. The only problem that you run into with the M79 is I found firing at extreme distances. So if I mount that up to about 350, 375, getting that lined up, you're kind of off your shoulder, you're completely off that stock. There's not a whole lot that you can do about it, and you're firing at an extreme range. It's just, the HEDP, when you fire it, it's got a good amount of recoil, so getting that off your shoulder, kind of that weird angle, sucks. But nothing's perfect. I find overall this to be a very effective weapon and a very easy weapon to fire, but I think probably the reason why you see it still persist despite newer systems like the M320 is how simple it is. So few moving parts. This has been proven time and time again to be a very effective and very accurate weapon. And compared to the M320, the M79 can still accept all of the newer rounds. So the reason the M203 had so many problems is for the longer 40 millimeter rounds, you really can't fit them in. But in this guy, this can fit anything because it's a break action. It's a clear, open area to get into it. Compare that to the M203. If you have those really long rounds, you can fit some pretty big rounds in here, but some of those more recent ones that have been developed by the United States military don't. So I think that the M79 is a good thing to have. It's definitely more niche, especially for civilian ownership, given how hard it is to own 40 millimeter. But depending on the climate and what's going on, you might have a good access to 40 millimeter. So it is definitely something that I would recommend getting some time on and being familiar with, in addition to the M203 and M320. But no matter what, I think that the M79 is perhaps one of the greatest grenade launchers that has been designed, and there's a reason that it is still around. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. This was a fun video to do. The Thumper, the Wombat gun, the what do you call it, Micah? The
What?
What do you call
the Thumper.
it?
It is the Thumper. It's
the
not
M79
called anything else.
The M79
They
Thumper.
came up with the M79 after the Thumper.
Oh.
Because when they designed it,
Yeah.
and they shot it, and it went thump, they were like, oh, it's called the Thumper.
Everybody, Micah Mayfield. Final thing for you guys: learn everything you can. There is an unprecedented access to knowledge right now. So get out there, learn, keep your eyes open, because there is a lot to know in this world, and the more you know, well, that's half the battle. G.I. Joe, get it?